Hello. Hello. You know, we usually like to bring something a bit cuddly for you to look at, but he's not very cuddly, is he? No. You know what it is? Well, he's a spiny spider crab, and I think he must be one of the biggest crabs that we've ever had on this programme, because his limb span is about 1/2 metre, about like that. So he's quite a big boy, this one. And he's found in these shores around these islands. He lives in the shallow water, eating bits of seaweed and bit of old sponge, not a jam sponge, of course. But, of course, he's big, but the foreign ones in the Mediterranean get very much bigger. They can have a limb span of 3 metres. Now, that's a very big spider crab indeed. And he's got this sort of spiny back there. And I don't suppose that many people won't have much to do with him, especially octopus. They leave him all on his own, the dear old spider crab. What have you got, Terry?
Hello, Johnny. I've got an edible crab. And it's not called an edible crab because of the... because you eat it. Although you do, it's called because of the pie crust appearance of the shell there.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's far more aggressive than that chap there.
Well, he's got a good pair of pliers on each hand, hasn't he?
That's right. Let's see if we can...
No, you've got a sulky crab there.
There we are. Look.
Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah. Very powerful.
Yeah. But, of course, the great mystery with crabs is why they run and walk sideways.
Well, the theory is that it's taste buds on its feet, and it can cover more ground and get more food, consequently. Yeah. So it's a good theory, isn't it?
Well, not bad at all. There's a little shore crab in here somewhere, isn't there, Terry?
Where is it? Where is it?
There he is.
He's in there, is he?
There,
okay. Well, let's see if he runs...
See if you can make him...
Run sideways.
Do a Sebastian Coe sideways. That's it. Come on. Go and find your home.
There we are. Look at that. Straight under there.
Yeah.
Isn't that marvellous?
Yeah.
Now, all crabs have to protect themselves, and they do that by their shell. The only problem they have is when they molt, and, of course, they've got to watch it a bit then. But there is one little chap over here that doesn't really have any problems at all. No. And that's the hermit crab.
Because that's not his shell in any case.
That's not his shell, no.
He hasn't got one.
He hasn't got one. He lives inside that whelk shell.
And he's got an anemone on his back, and, of course, the anemone, therefore, travels round with him. He puts it there deliberately, and it feeds on the particles of food that the crab doesn't want, and it also acts as a good camouflage.
Very successful.
Yeah, and when they change shells, it's been said that the hermit crab takes the old anemone off and puts it on his new shell.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Nice. You know, Terry, you've done a bit of diving, I've done a bit of diving. I very often imagine when I'm down deep that I can hear music, sort of strange singing, like... Do you ever hear that?
Well, not quite like that, but I've heard it. Well, I like music, and the other day I heard from a very old friend of mine that dolphins like music, so I decided to do my very own animal magic experiment, and I went along to Windsor Safari Park. We live in a very different world from dolphins. We're stuck on dry land, and so it's difficult to imagine how it feels to swim free and to talk to each other underwater. Dolphins are one of my special interests, and so I was really excited about going back to Windsor and to meet Andy, one of the trainers there. Oi, hello, mate.
Hi, Terry. How
nice
you doing?
to see you.
I've seen you for a while.
I always pick rainy days to come here.
Yeah, it's always the same, isn't
It's
it?
lovely to see them. How are they doing?
Fine, very well indeed. They're all very fit, very, very healthy. Always glad to see you as well.
How about a song from them?
Little song and dance.
Please.
OK, here we go then.
Dolphins make sounds by squeezing air through their blowhole on the top of their heads. And the tuba noise is Winnie the Killer Whale. You've got a show starting soon, haven't you?
Yeah, in a couple of minutes' time.
Should we go and see it?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm not working, so I'll come and see you as well,
Fantastic.
OK?
Come on then.
All right.
Do you want me to carry your bucket? We know that dolphins can talk to each other. They work together as a perfect team. But can they communicate with us? Well, I suppose they could be one jump ahead, and they've certainly trained their keepers to come up with the fish. And Andy thinks they also like music. What type of music do they like? This is what I don't quite understand.
Well, they like anything, especially something that they haven't heard before. Pop music, new wave, electronic, anything like that. They especially prefer electronics because it's got lots of high and low pitches in it.
So they're really with it?
They do. Well, it sort of comes into their own hearing range. And they try and communicate with it. They're always trying to squeak back to us, squeak back to the speakers. And they're very interested to find out where it's coming from. They put their heads out the water and try and find where the noise is coming from, you see.
It's marvellous. So they keep you on your toes?
They do, very much so. They run rings round us.
And this is one of the normal shows that's going on now?
Yeah, that's right. Look at that ball.
If we don't watch it, we're going to get a bit of space.
That's right, yeah.
Because we're in the front seat.
No, I tell you what, as you brought all your stuff with you, after the show, we'll take 2 dolphins out back, if you like. You can get in the pool. OK. We'll play some music to them and see what happens, OK?
That's marvellous.
We'll just watch the end of the show first of all, OK?
OK, let's have a look.
We get special show coming up from all the animals. We're really great sports here at SeaWorld.
Andy went to split off a couple of the dolphins into the back pool while I got into my wetsuit. Lulu and Angie were the 2 chosen for our little experiment. The dolphins knew there was something going on because of all the activity, but I doubt if they guessed they were about to be starring in their first underwater disco. You know, dolphins make amazing sounds above and below water. And in order to hear these sounds underwater, we use something called a hydrophone. And that's what we brought along here today. Have you got it, Andy?
Yep, here it is.
Oh, lovely. I'll put that back in. The hydrophone picks up all sorts of sounds, like the bubbles from my aqualung and splashes from swimming, as well as the squeaks and the clicks from the dolphins. Dolphins are also known to produce other sounds in frequencies far too high for us to hear. Whoa. Are you getting anything, Andy?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Are you getting anything?
Yeah, it's really nice and loud and clear on that one.
Is it?
Yep.
Oh, that's great. Look, have you got the underwater loudspeaker?
Yep, here it is.
We take that down and see how they react to that, right?
OK, there you go.
OK. Ready, here we go. Andy thought that electronic music was the thing, so we tried their reaction to a fairly slow piece. I think they were fascinated by the music, but it was difficult to be sure because they were also a bit distracted by me. Well, there was really no doubt in my mind that they were responding to the music, so we tried a faster piece. But in order to prove what sort of music they really prefer, a lot more work is needed. And after all the entertainment I provided for them, it was my turn for a bit of fun.
I say, Nutkins, old boy, would you like a bit of bread, old boy?
Yeah, this is rather nice, isn't it?
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
There you are.
Thank you very much, Johnny.
What's it like?
Well, can I have a knife, please?
A knife? Ah, well, now, you see, supposing we hadn't got a knife.
What do you mean? You've got a knife there.
Yeah, but I mean, supposing we hadn't got a knife, what would we do?
Well, I suppose I'd break a piece off like this, you see.
That's right, you'd be able to eat it then, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no problem. Can I have a knife, anyway?
What about the butter? If you haven't got a knife.
All right.
Yeah.
I would do this. You know, see?
All right.
Eat it like that.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Well, now, just suppose that we were somewhere else, you know, living in the tropics, and we had one of these beautiful fruits. There we are.
A pineapple?
Yeah, how would you manage that?
Oh, come on.
There.
What's going on?
Well,
I'd bite it.
yeah, but it'd be very uncomfortable.
Eat it like an
wouldn't
animal does.
Yeah, but you would really need a knife, wouldn't you, to slice it up? You wouldn't be able to do much with that.
Can I have the knife now?
Yes, there we are.
Thank you very much.
Try that. You see, we have got to use cutlery. We've learned to use cutlery because to eat, we pick up our food and put it into our mouths. Now, our mouths are very efficient because they've got these lovely teeth in, you see, and so we can bite away. But we've learned to use cutlery to make things easier. We use knives to cut things up and forks to get things into our mouths. Now, there are many strange animals about, and they feed on very different things to we do, because we eat all sorts of things, you see. They feed on different sorts of things, and they've adapted themselves to be able to feed their own particular way. Now, Terry, I've got somebody outside who particularly would like a bit of pineapple.
Well.
You've cut it up most beautifully. Could I have a bit, please?
There you are, sir.
That's lovely. We'll see what she makes.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye.
Now, here's someone who's very fond of a bit of pineapple and very fond of a grape as well. All right. It's our little friend Toya, isn't it? From Bristol Zoo. Would you like a bit of pineapple, Toya? Bit of pineapple? No. Look, she prefers the grapes, I think. There. Now, you'll see that she eats her food as we eat it. She clutches it with her hands, brings it up to her mouth. She's got very good teeth, and she chomps it up. But she does not use any cutlery, any implements, as some animals do. Now, here's a sea otter. He uses a tool. He uses a stone. He floats on his back. He's got the stone on his tummy, and he cracks open shellfish, abalones. And he keeps on cracking and cracking on his little anvil, and he is able to open the abalones and eat them. He's using a stone as a tool, in other words. Now, there's another character who uses a stone. This is a vulture, and he's found an ostrich egg, and he drops stones on the ostrich egg to crack it. He's not a very good shot. He misses quite a lot. Oh, dear, he got that one, though, and he's made a hole, and so he's able to get at the contents of that egg. Lovely. They're very clever, aren't they, those cutlery-using animals? But our friend Brolly, whom you know very well, he doesn't need to have cutlery, you see, because he's got this terrific beak here, and he can deal with a bit of bread and butter if he feels like it. Yeah, quite like a bit of butter, don't you, Brolly? Yeah, look at that, saving the butt. You see, it's very delicate, that beak. Try a little bit more. Now, that beak can crack very tough old nuts. But there, you see the delicacy with which he takes the butter off the bread. He's like the king. He does like a nice bit of butter with his bread. Don't you, Brolly?
Well, you may think that all birds feed in a similar way. This is a rufous-tailed Amazalia hummingbird from Ecuador, and it uses its beak for feeding, for finding food. In the wild, it feeds on the nectar of flowers. Here, it's got a sugar solution, and what it does is hover over the flower, or in this case, by the sugar solution, and actually sucks up the liquid, and that's the way it feeds, and it's a very successful bird, but it does rely on its wings to hover and to keep steady.
Well, I've come out of the jungle for the time being, for just a moment or two, because we have here an old friend of ours. You remember him, don't you? Rocky. That's right, Rocky. Well, now, Rocky feeds in an entirely different way. Now, just watch this. Like most seabirds, he doesn't champ his food up at all. he just grabs it and down it goes. Boom. Well, now, we'll just see if he'll take one or two in the water. Come on, Rocky. Here's a fish. Come on. Well, there he goes. Rocky's not really used to feeding in the water. He feeds on the land. But there, I mean, he's a very powerful swimmer. He just uses those flippers to fly through the oceans. But not here, because he just isn't used to it. Well, we've seen how Rocky, Brolly, and the hummingbird all feed. But you know, the world is full of very strange animals. Have a look at some of the strange ways they feed. So there are some very funny feeders about, aren't there, Terry?
Yes.
We've got another very funny feeder here. This is a pygmy hippo called April. You may remember her because she came from Bristol too, didn't she?
Yeah, and she's grown an awful lot since we saw her last, but she was then only, what, 9 months old?
Well, I don't know how old she was, but she's about 16 months old now, isn't she? And
that's right.
She's nearly adult. And you see, you might think, having a big mouth like that, Terry, that she would be a meat eater, wouldn't you?
Well, I would think with having big teeth like she's got, she'd be a meat eater.
Yeah,
really.
That's right. Well, she's not a meat eater. She's absolutely a vegetarian. In fact, her main diet is grass. And, of course, you know, hippos, they spend most of the time in the water in the day, and they come out at night to graze. So that wide mouth is just another way of how animals adapt themselves to feed on the grass. On the lovely green grass.
She doesn't like our pineapple.
Not much, but we've got a lovely bit of cabbage here. So here you are, April. A lovely bit of cabbage for your dinner, and we'll leave you to enjoy yourself.
Bye, April.
Now, do you remember a little while ago we met a llama that rather fancied himself as a steeplechaser? Yes, well, that was at the Kilverston Wildlife Park. Well, now, apart from many attractions at that wildlife park, the fact is that all the animals that live there come from South America. Yes, all of them. Lorenzo the llama comes from South America. Isn't that right, Lorenzo?
Yes, sir, that's right. And these little horses, they come from South America too. What's the matter with them? They don't grow up at all.
No, they don't grow up, Lorenzo. They're miniature Falabella horses. Perfect little miniatures.
Oh, I see. And these are little men. They're perfect little miniatures too, eh?
Well, no, not really. They're very little monkeys. Tamarins.
Oh, I see. They look very funny. I know lots of old men who come here look like that.
Oh, perhaps he doesn't like to be called an old man, Lorenzo.
I can't help it. He's just like a little old man. Look to him, look to him. A little old man, eh?
You'd better be careful, Lorenzo. You can easily upset them. Yes, you can.
I don't care. I don't care what they do. Hey, get out of it. What's the matter, eh? What's the matter?
We better move on, Lorenzo. Now, what about these?
Ah, yes, I know these ones.
Who are they?
These ones are the capuchins.
Ah, yes, the capuchins.
Yeah, I don't like.
You don't like?
No, they always make some little grumbles.
They always make some little grumbles?
Yeah, you look to her face. There she is, thinking up some little grumble. I don't know. And this one, he is thinking up also some little grumble. Yes.
Oh, well, I wonder if we'll get any little grumbles chucked at us.
Oh, yes, you see. They got a plenty of little grumbles, yeah.
Morning. What? Oh. Well, I'm sorry, Lorenzo, but I'll have to leave you here just for a minute and tend to their little grumble. Now, do you know what they're grumbling about? They're grumbling because their grass hasn't been cut. That's what they say. It hasn't been cut for over a week. Although, why you can't cut the grass yourself, I don't know. After all, you're pretty clever little monkeys, aren't you? I've seen you use a stone to crack a hard old nut. You're not silly, are you? Oh, no, you're not so silly. That's why you make up some little grumbles. Always making up the little grumbles, eh? Yes, we make up little grumbles. Hey, don't do any more. That's enough. Don't do any more. You don't want to take any notice of their little grumbles. They cheeky little monkeys, you know. They're so very cheeky, you know. What I heard people say, that these little monkeys used to work with the organ grinders in the street. Yes. They run around and pick up the pennies. They're quick as lightning. Yeah. They grab everything that they can. Yeah. Sometimes they try to steal the trousers if they can. Oh, yes. They're very clever. Very clever. Now, this one, he don't spin a web. Oh, no. You know why? Yeah, he's a spider monkey. And he loves roses. And his arms are not quite long enough to reach. And so he takes the rose with his tail. Look at that. You know, Lorenzo, some very strange people live here. Some of these South American animals, they have their little grumbles, you know, don't they, Terry?
They do.
But now, we've got 3 animals here today that don't seem to have any grumbles. They're 3 rather beautiful tigers.
Very beautiful tigers.
And, you know, they're quite remarkable in a way because they're associated with rather a remarkable foster mother. Now, do you remember who it was? It wasn't another tiger, it wasn't a lion or anything like that. Do you remember who it was, Terry? That was such a good foster mother?
It was a dog.
It was a dog, that's right. Yeah.
And was it called Carly?
It was called Carly.
Right, yeah.
Carly, are you there? Come out of the doghouse. Come on, Carly. Use your ballie. Come on. There's
Hello,
Carly. Isn't she good?
Isn't
there.
she lovely? Yeah.
Oh, look, as spry as anything. And the number of animals that she's fostered is quite incredible. Lions, tigers, leopards, badgers. If you need any help, if you need a nurse, send for Carly. And now she's being foster mother to these 3. Well, now, it's funny, but if you do remember some little time ago, I was at Howlett Zoo, and we were looking at the tigers there. And these little tiger cubs were there with their mum. Mum was in the water having a little prowl around. I said at the time, had lost the soap, but I don't think she had, Terry, if you remember. And she was looking for it. And these little tiger cubs, they are running out of room at Howlett's, and they breed so many tigers. They put it about that they needed a home for some tigers, and so these 3 little tigers were sent to the Gilsborough Grange Wildlife Park in Northamptonshire. Yeah. And there, Carly has been looking after them, and she's looked after all the other animals.
She's done very well.
Yeah, it made the national press, and once again...
Yeah.
No.
What's Carly going to come up with next?
Well, I don't know, Terry. I mean, how can you follow all this? Could be an elephant, although perhaps that would be a bit difficult. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, that's all we've got time for this week, and that's the end of the programme, the end of the series.
Oh, that's sad, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh. We'll be back again in the new year, though, and so from Brolly and Rocky and all of us here, and Toya and Terry, we'll have to say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And in fact, Animal Magic will be back next week at the same time. Coming up next, it's Roy Castle's Record Breakers.